Right, hello guys, my name is Che and today I will be showing you how you could improve in Valorant quicker or faster than any of your mates. I'll be breaking this video down into 4 separate sections: aim, movement, guns, and then agents. So first we'll talk about aim, right? There are many different variables or things that to worry about when you are trying to improve your aim. There are movement, knowing that you should stop when you kill an enemy or a target, or because if you do not stop, this is what will happen, right? So knowing when to stop, it's a good start. Knowing counter strafing, or just knowing to stop while shooting, right, in general. The second part will be reaction time. I don't feel that this is such a big deal because you can actually still aim or shoot well when you have a slightly slower reaction time. I don't think someone would have like a really slow, like 700 milliseconds reaction time. Like a human average reaction time is like 250. So yeah, unless you're an AWPer, I don't think reaction time will affect you that much. Basically, reaction time is how long it takes for you to register and shoot at enemy. Then you have your muscle memory. Now, muscle memory is real. These following things are like really important in improving muscle memory. Like muscle memory is knowing how much you need to click to a certain target. To like your muscles basically remember how much they need to click to a certain enemy. This is done by practicing a lot or knowing your sensitivity. It is a very good idea to basically go into the practice range and just shoot some bugs. Just get used to some sensitivity. I might make a video about aim drills later on, but I'm sure there's a lot of videos on YouTube for Valorant aim drills. Next will be crosshair placement. How you place your crosshair. Basically, you would want to place your crosshair always on head level, right? As you can see, my crosshair, sometimes it goes down, but it doesn't really go down that far. You don't start aiming at the legs, right? So if you aim at the legs, what will happen will be that you need extra time to flick at the head. Or if you aim at the sky, you need extra time to aim down at the head, right? So what is needed is like sort of like CS, where you always have the crosshair on head level, this vertical level. So you don't need to move your Y axis, sorry. You just need to move your X axis, left to right. And next will be your sensitivity. Now my sensitivity is actually pretty high, slightly high, medium high. So this is actually my CS sense, but it was converted. But all in all, I would say just find a sensitivity that's good for you. You could use pro sensitivity. Like back then, I used to use 10Ts. 0.485, and I just found it a bit too slow for me. It's accurate, but I didn't really like it, so I started increasing it by like 0.49, 0.5, 0.52, and then I settled at 0.6. Because I feel this is the most comfortable and I can just shoot behind, make a 180 pretty quick. So I would say a guideline for you to find your sensitivity is just click around the dots. If you're over clicking, then lower your sensitivity. But just know that on some days your sensitivity will feel like you're over clicking, or some days you will feel like you're under clicking and you would want to change around your sensitivity, but I would say no to that. Just stick to your sense, right? But I would say like a good point of changing your sensitivity is being able to 180. As long as you're able to 180, it should be pretty decent. Now, second part of this video, it will be movement. Now, I feel movement is one very important part of this game. Probably not as important as CS when it comes to like the idea of counter strafing, swinging, but it is still very important in Valorant. So when it comes to movement, you need to learn counter strafing. Counter strafing is basically the act of stopping when you shoot. So let me go to my crosshair really quick and turn on movement error and firing error. Now you see that when I move, my crosshair actually expands. That means that is basically the area of spread, right? Where the bullet can go within that big ass area, right? But if you see, if I stop, it goes smaller, right? So if I stop, now in general that is the basics of crosshair, counter strafing. But when it comes to counter strafing, you need to know how to hold D and tap A, hold A and tap D, right? You see, you instantly stop, right? So knowing how to counter strafe is a really essential part of this game. But I feel that using this crosshair, you will actually get distracted when you're actually playing the game, so I usually turn it off. I don't mind it if I'm using it to learn the movement, which I did for the first day. So I just used that crosshair for the first day, getting used to the movement, because this movement is slightly different compared to CS. Now, other than counter strafing, you have jiggle peeks. Jiggle peeking is what we call it in CS, but in Valorant is usually called shouldering or shouldering. So it's basically when you expose your shoulder just a tiny bit so that they can see just your shoulder. Now imagine someone with an operator just holding this angle and seeing your shoulder. They'll be tempted to shoot you if they see your shoulder. 80% of the time they usually miss because it's a very short amount of time to be able to shoot, right? If you're shouldering like this. So in general, using shouldering is really easy to bait out an operator shot or to get like information really quick. Unless they actually land a shot on you, then the slow of the shot will actually kill you. So know when to use that. Another thing about movement is shifting. A lot of players need to know when to shift or not. I've seen a lot of players in unrated. Some guy just planted the bomb on A site, and this dude lurking is on B side still walking while the enemies are defusing already. So I've seen a lot of players do that. Do not do that. No, there is a circle around you on your map usually if you are not shifting. And basically know whether your enemy is around that circle or could they go to a place around that circle, and know when to shift walk, right? Now shifting is a really good way to surprise your enemy if you want to swing, but I do recommend if you shift here, you just full on swing after a while and counter strafe at the end, right? So knowing when to shift is a really good way to improve your movement. Now the third part I want to talk about is the economy and guns. So you have your pistols. You have your pistol here, which is basically like a Glock or a P2000 from CS. It's like a P2000, but then when you right click, it's like a Glock that shoots straight. And second gun is a shotty. It's pretty useful on anti-eco rounds if you're playing defender side, but not really. No one can really use this to its full potential other than Jet, because shotguns are actually very accurate in the air. And you have your Frenzy. It's basically a very RNG type of gun. If you know what you're doing in your close range, you can really use this gun as well. But if you're pretty far range, it's not many bullets are gonna hit. Right. Then you have your Ghost, which is basically your go-to USP. It's really strong. It's pretty strong for pistol rounds, pretty strong for anti-egos, or even pretty strong for counter-ego rounds, right? Where you have to eco against people who want this. So, next will be your Deagle from CS or the Sheriff, which is technically, like, if you think about it, it's more like the R8 CS, but you don't have like the quick fire. So you have your Stinger, which is basically Mach 10. I don't really use the Stinger, it's really inaccurate, but it has the fastest fire rate in the guns menu. Then you have your Spectre. I like this SMG a lot. Usually after a round win, I would usually buy this weapon. Then you have your Bucky, your good old trustable Bucky. Now, the interesting thing about the Bucky is when you left click and you're close range, you do a lot of damage. Like if I could show you on the damage graph. Close range, 114 damage, right? 190. Right? But if you go slightly further down and you left click, you see it's not doing much damage at all. But if you right click from this distance, 460 damage. Just from that. 460 just from one right click. As you can see, if you right click, it actually goes out in like a smaller spread area. I don't know if you can see it right here. But if you left click, it's a big area spread like a shotgun pump. So the Bucky is really useful. I really like the Bucky. Next you have your Judge, which is an auto shotty or an X7 CS. Generic auto shotty. Doesn't do much damage actually. Now, interesting thing about the auto shotty is I would actually recommend you use your crosshair, your big ass circle crosshair, and like try to aim the top of the crosshair on the head and the other part of the crosshair on the body. So you probably will get a headshot and also more pellets on the body. Right? So if I could show you on the damage graph once again, if I aim at the head, 52. But if I aim like that, 138, right? So that's the shotty. You have the bullpup, which is basically your FAMAS in CS. If you scope in, it's going to be a 3-round burst. There you go. Then you have your Guardian. It's more like the G3S CS or the Scar 20. Then you have your Phantom and your Vandal. Phantom is basically your M4. It's very easy to spray. Pretty good for defender side because you're close range, so the damage fall off. Speaking about damage fall off, the one good thing about the Vandal over the Phantom is that you don't have damage fall off with the Phantom. I mean the Vandal, sorry. So if I enable bot armor here, and I go all the way to this corner, and I shoot that bot, it's not a one-tap. Meanwhile, a Vandal would be a one-tap, right? As you can see. So the damage fall off, if you can read on the side, the damage fall off is actually past 15 meters. So as a defender, usually you're holding closer angles in attack. So it wouldn't really matter to you because you're still gonna one-tap them within that range. So yes, I would say Phantom is better for CTs. have your Vandal, which is your AK, one tap, no fall off, well at least not past 50 meters. It's significantly harder to spray the Vandal compared to the Phantom. And past that you have your snipers, which is your Marshal, your basic scout, right? And then you have the op, basic one tap body shot, generic op. Then you have your LMGs. Ares, I don't really use the Ares. It's very hard to control. I don't really use LMGs in fact. But I feel that they're kind of broken because due to the slow speed. I mean due to the... I don't really call it aim punch because you're kind of getting slowed down by the shots that people hit, right? But the Odin and the Ares just slow you too much. You can't even run. And then you have your shields and your abilities. Now, one thing I need to remind you guys about is what to do after you win this round. Usually, a winning team would probably buy like a Spectre and some armor and probably some abilities. The losing team, you can either choose full eco or you can buy like a frenzy with, ghost with no armor or even a frenzy. Then the next round you can buy phantom or light armor, or you can just save another round. So yes, that is it about the economy. Now for the agents, I do recommend if you know how to play at least 3 agents, meaning that you can actually play them decently well and understand them. I've seen a lot of Jet 1 tricks, a lot of Raze 1 tricks, a lot of Duelist 1 tricks in fact, but none of them can play Sage or any other agents, right? So I do recommend when rank comes out, it's going to be much harder because some people will just insta-lock, and people already do that in unrated. But like, it's much better for the ranked community or the Valorant community in general if you stop insta-locking and actually start playing a team comp, right? So that will help with the rank community and that will help you win more games in general as well. So I main Jet. Sorry, I have 3 mains, so I main Jet, Reyna, and Sage. I only play Jet and Reyna if there are not enough duelists on our team. Usually I would only like, teams should only have 2 duelists max in my opinion. But yeah. So that is it about the agents. Don't be a one trick, right? And the last important part I want to talk about improving is your mindset. I feel like this is the most important part. I didn't even put it as a category because honestly, this whole thing doesn't work if you do not have the right mindset. The first part of having a proper mindset to improve is positivity. Knowing that you will improve, you just put enough time to it, and don't not get discouraged when you are not doing well, but also, you know, do not forget the mistakes you've made. So it's kind of like that forgive and do not forget statement, but more like forgive yourself and do not forget your mistakes you made, so you can learn. And the next one will be morale boosting. You need to be the morale booster in your team. You need to tell your team, nice try. You need to tell your team, you tried. You need to tell your team you tried your best. There's nothing you can do there, it's just unlucky. And you need to tell yourself as well that you would be able to win the next round. And the last 2 most important part about your mindset is the strive. Your eagerness to improve. You should be eager to improve. because you can and you have the ability to improve. You should not just think, oh, I've hit the plateau, I'm not gonna improve any much more than I already am, so I'll just quit the game maybe, or just play casually. No, because you can improve. Even the pros are improving day by day. And the last bit is confidence. You need to be confident enough to swing an angle, or confident enough to pick up the op. Maybe your team doesn't have a offer. You need to be confident enough to take fights that you normally wouldn't win. To take risks. I'm not saying coin flip the game, but I'm saying you should take risks that you usually might not take. Who knows? You might win the fight, right? A pro doesn't go into a game and think, oh, I'm gonna lose this, because they're probably gonna lose this if their mindset was set like that, right? So, all in all, I think the way to improve in this game is purely or mainly your mindset. If you don't feel like you really want to improve that much, or you don't feel like you want to beat yourself down that much after looking at your own mistakes, I would suggest, just play the game casually. But if you really strive to improve, I feel that you all have the possibility to be a very good player. And with that said, I think it's time to end the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you guys improve much more in Valorant, and I really hope I helped you guys out. So thank you. This is Vin Che, signing out.